Hi, welcome to Myers ASMR. How are you? Thanks for being here. I'm always glad to see you. Hey, relax. Chill out. They could not bring you down if you didn't have a proclivity to go there. They could not bring you down if you didn't have a proclivity to go there. Look what I got. Dunkin. It's an apple fritter. It's been a couple of years since I've had one of these, and I just heated it up really quickly in the microwave because they taste so much better when they're slightly warmed, not hot, because then you don't want all the sugar melting. Let's just get into it. I went late and the girl gave me one free. Don't you just love that? Panera does that too. Sounds like there's a hungry cat outside. I have some turkey slices that I don't want that I can give them. So good. Who saw the Craven movie? It was good, right? We don't want to lose the apple. Who's missing the beach? I've gone to the beach in the winter time, but this weekend is supposed to be less than 30 degrees, so I think I'll wait till it gets slightly warmer, maybe in the 40s. I've been listening to some Billy Joel music lately. My musical tastes are kind of broad and eclectic. It's not just the typical soul music that you would expect me to listen to. I grew up at a time when music was good. Yeah, and I miss that. I think people in my age range, like I would say 45 plus, a lot of us are hurting because of what we're hearing in today's music. It's gotta get better. It's got to get better. It's already time for me to get my hair redone. I tell you, this here crochet extensions, they don't last that long, because me, see, I have to wash my hair, especially my scalp. So I can't go like 4 weeks without washing my hair. Well, that's some citrusy stuff. Lord, this apartment gets so hot that at nighttime I have to have my windows open, and it's cold air. I'm like breathing in the cold air coming through the window, and I think it messes with my throat, so I squeezed a lime, I juiced a lime, and I put some apple cider vinegar in my tea. This tea is something else. I put a couple of soursop leaves in there, a few petals of hibiscus, and a Tazo tea bag. It's called orange, sweet orange, something. I gets jiggy with it. I used to bartend. It was a little frustrating because I never got to do what I considered actual bartending, which was being a mixologist, the stuff that bartending schools teach you. But unless you work at certain kinds of bars, you don't really get to do that kind of stuff. Most people just want beers and wine. Anyways, we're not here for that. Bartending was a long time ago. Anyways. Oh yeah, The Great Gatsby. What a great story. I just love great writing. He wouldn't say another word. His correctness grew on him as we neared the city. We passed Port Roosevelt, where there was a glimpse of red-belted ocean-going ships, and sped along a cobbled slum line with the dark, undeserted saloons of the faded, gilt 1900s. Then the valley of ashes opened out on both sides of us, and I had a glimpse of Mrs. Wilson straining at the garage pump with panting vitality as we went by. With fender spread like wings, we scattered light through half Astoria. Only half, for as we twisted among the pillars of the elevated, I heard the familiar jug-jug spat of a motorcycle, and a frantic policeman rode alongside. "All right, old sport," called Gatsby. We slowed down. Taking a white card from his wallet, he waved it before the man's eyes. "Right you are," agreed the policeman, tipping his cap. "Know you next time, Mr. Gatsby. Excuse me." "What was that?" I inquired. "The picture of Oxford. I was able to do the commissioner a favor once, and he sends me a Christmas card every year. Over the great bridge with the sunlight through the girders, making a constant flicker upon the moving cars, with the city rising up across the river in white heaps and sugar lumps, all built with a wish out of non-olfactory money. The city seen from the Queensboro Bridge is always the city seen for the first time, in its first wild promise of all the mystery and the beauty in the world." I'm just going to pause. I love reading and hearing about and watching documentaries about old New York, the way it was, how it began, and just how it came to be like what it is today. It's fascinating. If you've ever been to New York City, particularly Manhattan, this place is just teeming with so much of everything, so much energy, hope, vitality. It's a fast-paced, it's so progressive and wealthy. It's got everything. It's got poverty, extreme wealth. Some of the best restaurants, some of the best schools, jobs, industries are just packed into that little congested area. Everywhere you turn, there's just something fascinating. So when I read about, how it was before it became what it is now, it's just nice to learn some history. Anyways, a dead man passed us in a hearse heaped with blooms, followed by 2 carriages with drawn blinds, and by more cheerful carriages for friends. The friends looked out at us with the tragic eyes and short upper lips of southeastern Europe, and I was glad that the sight of Gatsby's splendid car was included in their somber holiday. As we crossed Blackwell's Island, a limousine passed us driven by a white chauffeur, in which sat 3 modish Negroes, 2 bucks and a girl. I laughed aloud as the yolks of their eyeballs rolled toward us in haughty rivalry. Anything can happen now that we've slid over this bridge, I thought. Anything at all. Even Gatsby could happen without any particular wonder. Roaring noon. In a well-fanned 42nd Street cellar, I met Gatsby for lunch. Blinking away the brightness of the street outside, my eyes picked him out obscurely in the anteroom, talking to another man. "Mr. Carroway, this is my friend, Mr. Wolfsheim." A small, flat-nosed Jew raised his large head and regarded me with 2 fine growths of hair which luxuriated in either nostril. After a moment, I discovered his tiny eyes in the half-darkness. "So, I took one look at him," said Mr. Wolfsheim, shaking my hand earnestly. "And what do you think I did?" "What?" I inquired politely. But evidently he was not addressing me, for he dropped my hand and covered Gatsby with his expressive nose. I handed the money to Catspaw, and I said, "All right, Catspaw, don't pay him a penny till he shuts his mouth." He shut it then and there. Gatsby took an arm of each of us and moved forward into the restaurant, whereupon Mr. Wolfsheim swallowed a new sentence he was starting and lapsed into a somnambulatory abstraction. "Highballs?" asked the head waiter. "This is a nice restaurant here," said Mr. Wolfsheim, looking at the Presbyterian nymphs on the ceiling. "What I like across the street better." "Yes, highballs," agreed Gatsby. And then to Mr. Wolfsheim, "It's too hot over there." "Hot and small, yes," said Mr. Wolfsheim, but full of memories. "What place is that?" I asked. "The Old Metropole," said Gatsby. "The Old Metropole," brooded Mr. Wolfsheim gloomily. "Filled with faces dead and gone, filled with friends gone now forever. I can't forget so long as I live the night they shot Rosie Rosenthal there. It was 6 of us at the table, and Rosie had eaten and drunk a lot all evening. When it was almost morning, the waiter came up to him with a funny look and says somebody wants to speak to him outside. 'All right,' says Rosie, and begins to get up, and I pulled him down in his chair. 'Let the bastards come in here if they want you, Rosie. But don't you so help me move outside this room.' It was 4 o'clock in the morning then, and if we'd have raised the blinds, we'd have seen daylight. 'Did he go?' I asked innocently. 'Sure he went.' Mr. Wolfsheim's nose flashed at me indignantly. He turned around in the door and says, 'Don't let the waiter take away my coffee.' Then he went out on the sidewalk, and they shot him 3 times in his full belly and drove away. 4 of them were electrocuted," I said, remembering. 5 with Becker." His nostrils turned to me in an interested way. "I understand you're looking for a business connection." The juxtaposition of these 2 remarks were startling. Gatsby answered for me. "Oh, no," he exclaimed. "This isn't the man." "No," Mr. Wolfsheim seemed disappointed. "This is just a friend I told you we'd talk about that some other time." "I beg your pardon," said Mr. Wolfsheim. "I had a wrong man." A succulent hash arrived, and Mr. Wolfsheim, forgetting the more sentimental atmosphere of the Old Metropole, began to eat with ferocious delicacy. His eyes, meanwhile, roved very slowly all around the room. He completed the arc by turning to inspect the people directly behind. I think that except for my presence, he would have taken one short glance beneath our own table. "Look here, old sport," said Gatsby, leaning toward me. "I'm afraid I made you a little angry this morning in the car." There was the smile again, but this time I held out against it. "I don't like mysteries," I answered, "and I don't understand why you won't come out frankly and tell me what you want. Why has it all got to come through Miss Baker?" "Oh, it's nothing underhand," he assured me. "Miss Baker's a great sportswoman, you know, and she'd never do anything that wasn't all right." Suddenly he looked at his watch, jumped up and hurried from the room, leaving me with Mr. Wolfsheim at the table. "He has to telephone," said Mr. Wolfsheim, following him with his eyes. "Fine fellow, isn't he? Handsome to look at and a perfect gentleman." "Yes, he's an Oxford man." "Oh, he went to Oxford College in England. You know Oxford College?" "I've heard of it. It's one of the most famous colleges in the world." "Have you known Gatsby for a long time?" I inquired. "Several years," he answered in a gratified way. "I made the pleasure of his acquaintance just after the war, but I knew I had discovered a man of fine breeding after I talked with him an hour. I said to myself, there's the kind of man you'd like to take home and introduce to your mother and sister." He paused. "I see you're looking at my cuff buttons." I hadn't been looking at them, but I did now. They were composed of oddly familiar pieces of ivory. "Finest specimens of human molars," he informed me. "Well," I inspected them. "That's a very interesting idea." "Yeah," he flipped his sleeves up under his coat. "Yeah, Gatsby's very careful about women. He would never so much as look at a friend's wife." When the subject of this instinctive trust returned to the table and sat down, Mr. Wolfsheim drank his coffee with a jerk and got to his feet. "I have enjoyed my lunch," he said, "and I'm going to run off from you two young men before I outstay my welcome." "Don't hurry, Meyer," said Gatsby without enthusiasm. Mr. Wolfsheim raised his hand in a sort of benediction. "You're very polite, but I belong to another generation," he announced solemnly. "You sit here and discuss your sports and your young ladies and your—" He supplied an imaginary noun with another wave of his hand. "As for me, I am 50 years old, and I won't impose myself on you any longer." As he shook hands and turned away, his tragic nose was trembling. I wondered if I had said anything to offend him. "He becomes very sentimental sometimes," explained Gatsby. "This is one of his sentimental days. He's quite a character around New York, a denizen of Broadway." "Who is he anyhow, an actor?" "No." "A dentist?" "Meyer Wolfsheim?" "No, he's a gambler." Gatsby hesitated, then added coolly, "He's the man who fixed the World Series back in 1919. "Fixed the World Series," I repeated. The idea staggered me. I remembered, of course, that the World Series had been fixed in 1919, but if I had thought of it at all, I would have thought of it as a thing that merely happened. The end of some inevitable chain. It never occurred to me that one man could start to play with the faith of 50 million people, with the single-mindedness of a burglar blowing a safe. "How did he happen to do that?" I asked after a minute. "He just saw the opportunity." "Why isn't he in jail?" "They can't get him, old sport. He's a smart man." I insisted on paying the check. As the waiter brought my change, I caught sight of Tom Buchanan across the crowded room. "Come along with me for a minute," I said. "I've got to say hello to someone." When he saw us, Tom jumped up and took half a dozen steps in our direction. "Where have you been?" he demanded eagerly. "Daisy's furious because you haven't called up." "This is Mr. Gatsby, Mr. Buchanan." They shook hands briefly, and a strained, unfamiliar look of embarrassment came over Gatsby's face. "How have you been anyhow?" demanded Tom of me. "How'd you happen to come up this far to eat?" "I've been having lunch with Mr. Gatsby." I turned toward Mr. Gatsby, but he was no longer there. And this is a great place to stop and make a check mark where I'm going to begin again. Wow, these are some interesting characters, the types of people that I don't get to meet except through this book. Hey, remember that nobody can bring you down unless you have a proclivity to go there. Nobody can bring you down unless you have a proclivity to go there. Hey, if you like what I'm doing, donate to the cause. Catch me in the next video, like and subscribe, and may you find lasting happiness. Bye.